that nice gravy over top of it. Oh, if you guys could only see and smell that. Isn't that great? Ooh, I hope you'll like it. So maybe I'll call this my Hungry Man Salisbury Steak. I don't know, but it's gonna be little Salisbury steak. I don't know. Anyway. Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. I'm Amy Roloff, and this is my kitchen in my house. Anyway, today or tonight, I am making, how should I say, I'm going back down in memory lane. I grew up in the Midwest, or the upper Midwest, Michigan, and we had a lot of, comfort food types of things, types of food my mom would cook, or I started cooking for my family at about 14. My mom was back at work. But back in those days too, this is right, probably aging me. Back in those days, TV dinners were a big thing back then. And I think we either had them on Friday nights or some kind of weeknight where, my mom had to stay late at work, or she had an activity to do after work and wouldn't come home, or I can't remember the situation, but I remember growing up with TV dinners. Some of them were good, some of them were not so great, I guess. But one of the things that were really big in TV dinners was Salisbury steak. And it kind of reminds me of, my home. My mom would make it on her own, or we'd have a TV dinner, or I remember going to what I would call the blue plate special diner type of places. So anyway, we're making Salisbury steak today. And so this is kind of like my Midwest going down memory lane type of dinner. I'm really big on that, and I'm trying to do things just slightly different, not necessarily cutting down on calories and all that stuff, but maybe not doing things as much that would increase the calories or the sugars or whatever it may be. But I love home cooking. I love comfort food. I love my Midwest, and I really like all types of food. So these are just kind of my versions of it. So we're gonna make Salisbury steak tonight, along with garlic mashed potatoes. So the gravy that'll go over the Salisbury steak, I'm also gonna, but I'm also gonna put in with the potatoes, or over the potatoes. So, since it's just Chris and I eating, I've got a pound of lean ground beef. And in this, I am going to add just about 1/4 cup of breadcrumb. You may not need that much because this is lean. About 1/4 cup or a little less for a pound. If you have more than a pound, because you're cooking for more people, add a little bit more of some of these ingredients. So I'm gonna do, I'll do about 1/4. Because you need something to hold the meat together. But full of flavor as well. Now some people would say, well, isn't that kind of like a meatloaf? Well, yes and no. You're cooking it differently, you're shaping it differently, a few less ingredients inside of here, so hopefully that'll work. Anyway, okay, where's my teaspoon? Okay, I'm gonna put about this is a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm gonna use chili sauce. I think it has a different kind of flavor than just ketchup, but I grew up on chili sauce. So that is 1 teaspoon. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of chili sauce. I'm gonna do about the same, or maybe a teaspoon of garlic, minced up garlic. I'm gonna do a little bit of brown mustard, give it kind of that little flavor to it. I don't know, about 1/2 teaspoon. And then a little bit, how can you not have Worcestershire sauce with beef? So I'm gonna just add a little bit of dashes in there. What else am I forgetting? Well, salt and pepper. a little bit of salt and pepper, because obviously the mustard will have a little bit. And I did pick up low sodium Worcestershire sauce, but still, it's got salt in it. And for this, I like ground pepper and not just, you know, already ground pepper. I think it adds a little bit more of a rich flavor to it. Okay, I'm just gonna start this off with a fork. I'm gonna look at my notes, just so I don't think I forgot anything. Okay, let me see here. Because I want to be exact for you guys, and I'm not always exact. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of moisture in here, and it's not going to be an egg, but I'm going to add like a couple of teaspoons of beef broth. And I forgot to get that. So hang on for a minute. Okay, voila, I'm back. Okay, doop, doop. I think that's about enough. And I'm gonna use that beef broth for the gravy too, but I think that the beef broth will give the Salisbury steak a little bit of moisture, but also flavor. And I don't know, I think this already tastes good, or smells good. Okay. Making sure all the flavors are into this. Okay. I'm gonna get a plate out. Move some of my ingredients out here. And I already have the onions sliced up and the mushrooms, and that's gonna be part of the gravy. So I'll saute those, caramelize the onions a little bit, saute the mushrooms a little bit, and incorporate a gravy for all of this. Okay. And you know what? You can make your Salisbury steaks as big as you want or as small as you want. And all you want to do is just shape them a little bit differently. Not quite like a hamburger patty. Well, it is almost, let's be frank. So I'm just gonna shape these up into little rectangle nuggets. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna get a smaller plate out to form these. Probably get 4 out of a pound of hamburger. And this is lean ground beef, so it does not have a lot of fat content, so they're not gonna shrink up a lot. I think I made a smaller one for me. That's okay. We're gonna get 4. They might not be as big as I want, but that's okay. I should probably eat a lot less anyway. So I got one big one, that'll be for Chris. So yeah, it's kind of in the palm of my hand. This one's a little bit longer. Okay. And so I'm going to kind of sear these on both sides. And then I will just leave them in the pan for a little bit until they're finished cooking. And then I will remove them and then create the sauce. The gravy, I should say. Okay, on to cooking the Salisbury steak. And then we'll start with the gravy. And I've got a big pot over here boiling, that orange pot over here, and I'm gonna put the potatoes in there for mashed potatoes. Hi, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you are enjoying it, and I would really appreciate it if you liked it and subscribed to it. And oh, don't forget to click that little bell up there, and you'll be notified of future videos that are new and coming on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for that. And I would really appreciate it if you shared the video and let other people know and encourage them to subscribe and like the videos as well. So anyway, thank you, and back to the video. Okay, I'm heating up some butter here. Probably did a little bit too much in here. Probably just a tablespoon and about a tablespoon or more of olive oil. Gonna get my meat and a spatula to flip them over. I like the butter because, again, that'll create some flavor, and this is lean ground beef, so it does not have a lot of fat in it. Okay, there we go. There's 1, 2. I kind of want to get a sear on them. And if you really want them to look like steaks, just put little dents in there. Like I said, I think I added too much butter and olive oil in here. So like I would only do like a tablespoon of butter and 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I guess that's what you get for, not winging it, but misjudging my eyesight. So these will have a little bit to go. I would say about, probably maybe about 5 minutes. Okay, and then we'll flip them over. Okay, I went ahead and took out a little bit of the butter and oil because I did think it was too much. So sorry about that. But we're gonna go ahead and gently flip these over. We're getting a nice crusty brown. I want to flip them over gently so I don't have olive oil and butter going all over the place. So this will just take a couple of more minutes. Then I'll probably just put them in a different pan and let them finish cooking in the oven. But I want to use this to create my gravy. Had to get my pan ready because I didn't do that yet. My water is boiling over here, waiting for me to put the potatoes in there. Let's see, are these almost done? Oh yeah. I think these are almost done. So I'm going to turn off this heat. Put them in the other fry pan and let them finish cooking in the oven. And to get all of this goodness out of here, I think I might even add a little bit of red wine into my gravy. So obviously have a pan that can go in the oven. So okay, I'm gonna add my potatoes in and get going on the gravy. Okay, so I'm sauteing my onions right now. I put in about a tablespoon of butter. Put a little bit of red wine on here just to get all the little bits and pieces. And that's right in here, and so I might add that to the gravy. I'm not sure, I haven't made up my mind yet. So these are getting brown partially because of all the other good flavors from searing the steak, the hamburger steaks, or ground beef steaks. So yeah, this will just take a couple of minutes because you don't really want that crunchy bite into the onion, but you don't want a mushy either. So it's kind of like a fine line. And I know the mushrooms will soak up a lot of this liquid as well. And what I may do, because when I add in the beef broth and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, chili sauce, salt and pepper, a little bit of oregano, I might mix in the 2 teaspoons of cornstarch in here just to create a little slurry so it doesn't lump up in the gravy. I think I have about a cup and a half, a little over a cup and a half of okay. Okay, we'll add in my mushrooms. I think that's about time. I love mushrooms, and I'm so happy that Chris likes mushrooms too. See, the mushrooms will soak up all that liquid. And so if you do need a little bit more in the fry pan, just add a little bit more butter or olive oil. I think that's what I'm going to do, just a little bit at a time. There we go. I guess some of my lights aren't on. Oh, that's why it's so dark here. I didn't add some of the light in the background. You know, I try and think of everything when I do these videos, so. And I think for this, I'm going to try, but I usually don't like a very creamy mashed potatoes. I like that little rusticness, just that little bite of little bitsy soft chunks of potato. But I'm going to try and cream these potatoes a little bit. Creaming, I meant really beat them up with a potato masher. Okay, we just got a little more ways to go on this. I'm hoping this tastes good to eat, like what I remember in my childhood. Now, the reason I didn't add salt in this, because I didn't want them to just, I wanted the mushrooms to brown a little bit along with the onions. And my experience and what I've read, putting salt in this first brings out the water, and you're really like steaming them. You're not cooking them. Or if you want them to brown and caramelize. Okay, I think we are going good here. Okay. I'm going to try and eyeball it like I really know what I'm doing when it comes to measuring. Okay, so I have a cup and a half of beef broth. So I'm going to add this. Oops. You know, I think I might just add 2. So look on the recipe for the exact. And the reason I'm adding 2 is because this is kind of a big pan. And I'm going to add in some of the chili sauce. It's a big pan. And I do have 4, so I want to make sure I have enough. I'm going to save that slurry sauce, or that wine sauce there. Oh yeah, a little bit of Liam Perkins. Just a few splashes. Definitely some ground pepper. Now the broth will have some salt in it, so be careful on your salt. That definitely was like maybe 5 to 8 turns of the ground pepper. Just a hint of oregano, not a lot. And so let's see, I guess I could clean up my dishes a little bit. Here we go. And then I'm going to add, what did I say, 2 teaspoons? 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. add it in this wine sauce, just stir it around. And if it gets too thick, you got your beef broth or some of the gravy. Which I'm gonna do, just to loosen it up a little bit. And that little wine and the little bits from the pan will go back into this gravy, and I think that'll be really nice. Like I said, I like to get every little bit out of bowls. Just let this simmer for a while until it thickens. And then taste it to see if you need any other seasonings or something like that. Or if it thickens up too much to what you desire, just add in a little drizzle of beef broth. Or a little bit of red wine if you want. Okay, I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit. I'm gonna attend to the potatoes, check on the Salisbury steak, and we'll be ready to eat soon. Okay, I tell you, I wish I would have made more gravy here. This looks so good. Sometimes I add too much cornstarch or whatever, but anyway, oh, this just, see how it's thickened up? It's still, you know, just a little bit runny, but it's definitely thickened up. It'll be a nice gravy over the Salisbury steak. And if there's any left over, the mashed potatoes. So what I'm gonna do right now is get the Salisbury steak out of the oven and just set them in here so that they can kind of meld with the gravy a little bit too. So let me do that. Set that right over here. Because the pan is hot. I'm just going to nestle this in here if you can see that. Get the spoon out of the way. There we go. And I'm also going to get some of the juices from the pan left over from the meat. Trying not to burn my hand. Okay, woo. There we go. Whoa. Just drizzle that gravy over the meat. Just let it simmer here for a moment till the rest of your dinner is done. And we're really gonna have what I would call a retro, going back down my memory lane when I grew up. Salisbury steak, we're having mashed potatoes and green beans, and I think Chris will really like this. I think that's what he will like, I hope. And I hope it's good, because this is I'm plating this and getting this on the dinner table a little bit late, so anyway. Okay, I'm gonna finish up a little bit here and then we'll get to plating it. Okay, I've got nice hot potatoes here. I put a couple of tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna try and not add milk to this. But then again, if I want them creamy, I think I might have to. And no, I'm not, you could, but I'm choosing not to just because of time, is to use a blender on this. I may add in a little bit more butter though. And I will add just a little hint of sour cream into it to give it that little tang. I think that'll go nicely with Salisbury steak. And the other option I was gonna do to this, but I'm not sure if I feel like it, but you could add just a hint of Parmesan cheese. Okay, I think these are mashed up. I hope. I'm gonna get a spoon. Oh, here's one. Oh yeah. Just gonna add in a little bit of tang. About a teaspoon or so of sour cream. Well, let's make it 2. I think that's enough. I don't want it too tangy. And then after that, I'll add a little bit of salt and pepper. Then I'm almost ready to plate this. I cannot wait. I might chop up a little bit of parsley just to make it look pretty. Now, if you don't want black specks into your potatoes, try white pepper. But I don't mind. And to tell you the truth, these mashed potatoes, if I left a little bits of skin on them, I wouldn't mind that either. Okay. Yeah, these potatoes are nice and creamy. Oh yeah, what did I forget? I forgot the garlic. Okay, let's just add that in. And if you didn't want little bits of garlic, go ahead and add garlic powder. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna check on my beans. And I think once those are done, I'm ready to plate. I'll keep these warm. I'm starting to plate up the green beans, the Salisbury steak, and the mashed potatoes. I think this will feed any hungry man's appetite. So these are just really nicely buttered green beans. I'm just gonna grate a little bit of Parmesan cheese on them. I'm gonna dish up the mashed potatoes. Oh, you'll love these mashed potatoes. Just so good. I'm gonna get a little bit of parsley. Because I forgot to do that. I'm just gonna tear up just a little bit of parsley just to give it some pizzazz, because I don't have my cutting board here to chop it up. And then dish up the Salisbury steak. Okay, there we go. I hope I did not cook this meat too long. That nice gravy over top of it. Oh, if you guys could only see and smell that. Isn't that great? Ooh. I hope you'll like it. So maybe I'll call this my Hungry Man Salisbury steak. I don't know, but it's gonna be little Salisbury steak. I don't know. Anyway, you can find this recipe and all of the other recipes at amyrolofflittlekitchen.com or on my YouTube channel. Let me know what you think. And from my little kitchen to yours, here you go. Thank you.